Hi, I'm Linda from English Learning Mind Map. Today, we will learn about financial hardship. Financial hardship. To feel the pinch and weather the storm of financial hardship, one must learn the language of survival. Basically, we are using idioms to describe what it's like when money is very tight. Frugal living. As a core pillar of financial hardship, frugal living requires you to tighten one's belt and pinch pennies on every purchase. In simple terms, you are spending as little as possible because you have no choice. Budgetary constraints. Budgetary constraints are a branch of frugal living where you must cut corners and learn to live within one's means. This means finding the cheapest way to do things and only buying what your salary allows. Minimalist spending. Within budgetary constraints, minimalist spending helps you save for a rainy day and watch the pennies in your wallet. To put it simply, you are keeping a little money for emergencies and being very careful with small change. Resourcefulness. Resourcefulness is a functional layer of frugal living, teaching you to make do with old items and scrimp and save for months. Essentially, you are using what you have and being extremely careful with every single cent. Makeshift solutions. Through makeshift solutions, people learn to live on a shoestring and keep the wolf from the door during tough times. In other words, you are surviving on a tiny budget and making sure you have just enough to buy bread. Precarious employment. Precarious employment is a vital branch of financial hardship where workers live hand to mouth and struggle to make ends meet. Basically, you are spending your whole paycheck immediately just to stay alive until the next one. Income instability. Income instability is a core part of precarious employment where you might be hard up if you hit a dry spell at work. This means having almost no money because the work has suddenly stopped coming in. Irregular wages. During periods of irregular wages, people often have to scrape by and find themselves out of pocket after paying for transport. To put it simply, you are just barely surviving and sometimes spending more than you earn. Side hustling. Side hustling is a strategy within precarious employment to bring home the bacon and pick up the slack when main hours are cut. In short, you are taking extra jobs to make sure there is enough food for your family. Gig economy. By joining the gig economy, you must hustle and bustle and often moonlight as a driver or delivery person. Effectively, you are working very fast and taking a second job at night to earn a little more cash. Debt accumulation. Debt accumulation is a critical requirement for financial hardship as people end up in the red and get in over one's head with loans. Effectively, you owe more money than you can ever pay back and the stress is growing. Financial overextension. Financial overextension is a strategy within debt accumulation where people live on borrowed time and rob Peter to pay Paul. This involves taking a new loan just to pay the interest on an old one, which is very dangerous. Credit dependency. Through credit dependency, it is easy to run up a bill until your credit cards are completely maxed out. Simply put, you are letting your debt grow until the bank says you cannot spend any more money. Lending pressures. Lending pressures are a technical part of debt accumulation where you pay through the nose and remain at someone's mercy. In simple terms, you are paying a huge amount of interest because you are desperate for help. Aggressive collection. Under the umbrella of aggressive collection, banks might squeeze dry a person's savings or breathe down someone's neck for payment. This means the lenders are taking every cent and following you constantly to demand their money. Socioeconomic struggles. Socioeconomic struggles are a fundamental goal of financial hardship where people fall through the cracks and hit rock bottom. Basically, the whole system makes it hard for poor people to ever get back on their feet. Wealth disparity. Wealth disparity is a core part of socioeconomic struggles, especially if you live on the wrong side of the tracks compared to those born with a silver spoon. This means comparing poor neighborhoods with people who were born rich. Class divides. By looking at class divides, we can see the gap between the well-to-do and those who are completely down and out. In other words, There is a huge difference between being rich and having no home or money at all. Social mobility barriers. Social mobility barriers are a practical problem where people hit a glass ceiling and feel they are stuck in a rut. Essentially, no matter how hard you work, there is a limit that stops you from moving up in the world. Systemic obstacles. Under the umbrella of systemic obstacles, many must fight an uphill battle and feel like they are going nowhere fast. To put it simply, trying to get rich when you are poor is a very difficult fight that often leads to no progress. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more English lessons.